What's up? It is Casey from Casey's Customs. We are back on the 1965 International Pickup Truck. On the last video I posted, I got the motor and transmission mounted, made all the mounts for it, made a transmission, cross member, all that. We also got the radiator mounted and made the mounts for our front clip. What I'm going to focus on in this video is cutting out and replacing this floor. It is not great. The center section is not bad, so I'm going to probably try and reuse that. Just cut along here and we'll replace it. The owner actually has, oh, sorry, hold on, let me just move past this beautiful 1955 Ford and this beautiful 1927 Ford. The owner bought some floor patch kit from a company. Apparently an International does not have the aftermarket support that a four-door Chevy does. So his actual floor kit is a bunch of little like galvanized pieces of shit. I don't know. I'm not very impressed with that at all. Anybody that does any sheet metal work or has done any floor replacement, I've never seen a floor patch be galvanized. Also, it doesn't really have any shape to it at all. I've had them all out and I've kind of looked at them and I don't even know what it's supposed to go to. I assumed he actually ordered the wrong kit. And I asked him, he showed me the website he went to. Sure enough, this is supposedly the kit for a 65 International truck. I don't know. So, I'm not saying I'm not gonna use it, but if I do end up using that, it is gonna be heavily modified. So I might end up just making my own pieces. But the first thing we need to do is figure out where all our rust is and cut it all out. A lot of guys will see this and they'll go, the whole floor needs replaced. No, you don't have to get that crazy. You just need to cut where the rust is. If you're inexperienced, you might go, oh, it's here. Usually the rust is much farther. So what you want to do, you want to take a little hammer. Let's see. Here we go. You want to take a hammer with a pick, or you can use a screwdriver, and just kind of start pecking around on it. That right there is obviously thin and needs to come out. This is all actually pretty good over here. So, actually pretty solid over here. I thought that was a rust hole, and I think that's a mounting hole. So I just beat that for no reason. But it looks like I need to probably come right about here, across all the way up, and then I think my floor is... Damn! Floorboard's pretty good too. It's not nearly as bad as I thought. So, need to come here, across, and then there. And then we will do the same thing on the other side. But yeah, let's start cutting some shit and see what we can do. I was being real careful when I was cutting it, and I thought I could get away with keeping all my sparks down on the floor, but I'm always nervous about glass. I was like, whatever, 21 or 22, I was building a car, and I was cutting on a fender like this, and then there was a window here, and I was just in there cutting, doing all my thing, doing like a patch panel, and I looked over, and this glass was just pure shit. The sparks, they embed themselves in the glass, and you can run your hand over it, and the sparks will stay in there, the little piece of metal. Feels like a piece of sandpaper. As I was cutting, I've only cut like maybe a foot so far, but as I was cutting, I saw a couple sparks like going up. They didn't even get to the glass, but they were going in the wrong or in the right direction, and I was like, let's just go ahead and stop. So, put some plastic up. This will stop any sparks from hitting any of my stuff. Now we're gonna jump back in. We always say hi to the time-lapse camera. How you doing? Good to see you. Probably won't see this because you're on time-lapse. But yeah, let's get back to cutting. I'd say I got about 90% of it cut out. I'm gonna go in now with a flap disc and clean up all my edges, and then kind of just double check for any soft spots. I think I'm got them out. That side was a lot worse than I thought. The good news is my cab mounts are right here in the corners, and they were actually both really solid. The metal on these cab mounts is like a 1/4 inch thick. These Internationals were built like tanks. So that's good because it didn't rust out and I'm not having to change the cab mounts, which I thought I was gonna have to do. But they're both salvageable because the metal is so thick. So I'm gonna go in now, clean up all my edges with a flap disc, double check for any soft spots, and then we'll have a good, not only will I know where all the rust is and make sure it's all gone, but I'll have a good edge to weld to because the flap disc will take it all down to bare metal. It's gonna get so dusty and disgusting in here, which sucks, because I can't run my attic fan because it's 3 degrees outside, but we gotta do it. The rust is all gone. Check it out. Giant hole here, really giant hole over there. Starting to piece these together. They're not as bad as I thought. They are galvanized, which is weird. Nobody likes to weld galvanized. You'll get sick if you don't have a filter on when you weld galvanized, so it's just kind of nasty shit. So when I saw that it was galvanized, I assumed it was just kind of hacky stuff, but they actually don't look bad. They're real thick, which I like. So I'm starting to kind of get the pieces out and fitting them together. My customer didn't buy enough of the patch panels. I guess he said they were pretty expensive, and also he didn't realize how much rust was there at the time, obviously. But it looks like on this side, I'm only gonna have about half of it with the patch panel. That side, about 90% of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna figure out how to put these in there and get them in there, maybe throw a tack weld on them. I might just screw them in for now, I'm not sure. And then what I'll do is I will build off of them because they're actually really thick metal, which is good. So I'm gonna try and get those in there, try and figure out a way to kind of make them work. Like I said, they're not great, but they're not as bad as I thought. We're gonna try and get those in there like a funky puzzle piece where the pieces don't work together and they're not the right size. And then we'll start building off them. Check it out. I got this side basically done. I still need to do a bunch of welding, but I'm not gonna work on that. This is galvanized and it's really nasty shit if you breathe the smoke. So you gotta have a fan on. I really need a respirator on, so I'm just doing some tack welds to get it where I want it, to get all the sheet metal work done. And then I'll come back in here with a filter on one day and fully weld it. You don't really have to fully weld your floors anyway, you just need to kind of stitch weld them, but I definitely want to have a filter on. And the filter I have right now does not go underneath my welding mask. So we're just going for tacks. Fabrication's all done, absolutely looks great. I actually don't hate the metal my customer got. It's really thick. I wish it wasn't galvanized, but it's super thick, which is awesome for floors. But it's just hard to work with because you can't cut it with a metal shear. You got to cut it with a cutoff wheel. Basically like working with plate versus working with a standard piece of sheet metal. But that's fine. It's always good to have a thicker floor, even though the stock floor is 18 gauge. So any pieces that I don't have of this stuff, I'll fill in with 18 gauge, which is fine because that's what was in it. But it's always good to go with a thicker floor. I just wish it wasn't galvanized. We're going to come in here and start piecing these together. I think I have enough. I think I have the piece basically up to like right there, which is pretty good. And then I'll have to piece in the rest. But yeah, she's moving along. It's a bitch. And I hate galvanized. It's just nasty crap. I don't know why any company would make them out of that, but this is an International. It's not a Chevy. You know, they don't have a ton of people making parts for them. I think this company is the only company that even does the floors in the first place. So, all right, back to work. We are done. Well, done for today. They're in there, they're tacked. I really hate how this shit welds. You take the smoke away that, you know, makes you sicker than hell. It just welds like dog shit. I mean, it just looks gloppy. Not a big fan of it. But everything's in there. I got it welded where it's not going anywhere. Very, very strong. I'm happy about that. I'm jumping up and down it earlier. I have no oil can. Everything's really tight and really strong, so definitely happy with it. We're gonna call this a quitting time right now because I need to order a filter for an air filter that goes under my welding mask. I currently don't have one. I threw out my old one, which was dumb. so I need to get one of those. Also, I need to order a couple of parts for the steering. I'm gonna go ahead on the next episode of this. We'll go ahead and finish up the steering and kind of the brakes. The brake linkage is hooked up and not hooked up very well, so I'm gonna redo it. And I had the steering in there, just didn't love it. It looked like it was kind of binding, so I just, instead of kind of having it okay, I'm just gonna redo it all and make it perfect, but I have to order some parts to do that. So we're gonna go ahead and end this one here. I'm like, geez, I don't know, 10 hours in these floors already. Pain in the ass, but thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good shit I tell at the end. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good shit they tell you to do at the end of videos, and check out some more of my other videos. Peace!
I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie.